Hello everyone, I am Keshav Paraswani and today we would be discussing an important topic of cloud computing. So if you are already using Gmail, if you are using Google Drive, if you are using Microsoft OneDrive, or if you have watched movies on Amazon Prime or Netflix, so it means you are already using the services of the cloud. So you must be wondering like what is cloud computing and why this term is so famous today. So you will get the answer of each of your questions in today's session. So before moving further, let's discuss the agenda for today's session. So we would be discussing what is cloud computing, what are the various benefit of cloud computing, and we would understand like why so many companies are now, so many IT companies especially now moving to the cloud. So we will discuss all these things one by one. So we will discuss this concept in a very easy storytelling way. So he is a Rahul. So he actually born in a very poor family, and his father was a farmer. But one day, his after after the birth of the Rahul, he decided like Rahul will take a good education. So he admitted Rahul in a very good school, and in their curriculum Rahul was also a very brilliant boy. So actually he was the topper of his school. He top all the classes from first to 10th, and in the 10th he was the he got more than 90% of the marks actually. So after 10th he actually decided like he should opt for the computer subject because he actually want to become a software engineer. So after 10th he taken the PCM subject, and in the 12th also he actually got top in the list, and he actually made over 90% of marks. He got over 90% of the marks, and after that he actually admitted in a very good college, and his total study was free because he was the topper. Okay, so even in the college also, he was a very brilliant student, and he actually completed all his college with a very flying star. So he completed his education, and then he got the offer from a very good company, and he got a very good offer actually. So he started working there, and even there also, he was the most favorite employee of his boss. So he actually interacted, he was also interacting with the clients also, and he know how to handle the business. So one day he thought of the money, like he got to know like how his boss getting the client, and his boss is actually making so much of money. He is only getting only 10th part of that money that what he actually getting for his boss. So he was thinking about the money actually. So why don't I should start my own IT company? I know how to get clients, how to start business, how to run business, how to deliver the software to the client, and everything he knows about it. So he actually decided to start his own IT company. So one day he sat in a cafeteria with his good friend, and he shared all these things with his friend, like I am going to start, I'm thinking of starting my own IT company because because I know how to get client and everything about the IT companies. So I have decided to start with my own IT company. So he was very happy at that day, but his friend actually replied like, have you gone mad? The first impression of his friend was, have you gone mad? So he said, what? Why? I can start my own IT company. I know how everything. So he actually told him like, in starting an IT company, you need a big amount in your hand. That amount is actually known as capex. So capital expenditure you should have in your hand before starting the your own IT company. So he was said, which type of what amount I need. So he tell like you need to purchase a server, you need to buy a space where you can keep the servers, then networking instrument, then storages and everything. Then you need to spend a lot of money on on those resources. So you should have a big amount in your hand. So he thought he then he asked, do you have that much amount in your hand? He said, no, I don't have, but I can take a loan and everything. So he actually replied, again his friend replied like, if you take the loan also, so what is the guarantee that your business will get success, and if your business got failed, then you will be like out of the money. So he actually started thinking, right, he is right. So he was very sad actually. because he actually decided to go for the IT company and start their own IT company. But because knowing all these things, like I don't have that much amount of money in my hand, so he was actually worried and he was very sad. So he dropped his idea of starting his own IT company and started working continuously with his boss. So he started working. He worked 2 or 3 years more, and after one day, he again sat with another friend in a cafeteria, in the same cafeteria, and he told all these things to his friend, like I had a dream of starting my own IT company, but because of money I actually dropped my dream and everything. So the reply from his friend was the same: have you gone mad? So he asked, he was the actually this was the other friend. So he asked, why? So he actually explained him. So if you what happen if you suppose you don't have your own house, you don't have money to buy a house, then what would you do? He said, like I would rent out the house. So he said, exactly, in the similar way you can rent out the resources also. So he said, from where I can rent out the resources? So he said, uh, you haven't heard about the cloud? So from there, cloud actually, the cloud companies came into picture. So he started renting out the services from the cloud, and he started his IT company renting out. He said, actually, his friend explained him, you can rent out the server, you don't need to keep server, you can all the servers are available online, and all the storage you can rent out, all the things you can rent out the platform also from the cloud, and all the things that you need you can rent out from the cloud, and you don't need to have so much money in your hand. So he actually started his IT company, and he run his IT company very successfully, and he was very, very happy man nowadays. So now what you understand with this picture? So this story. So this story tells you what is the cloud computing exactly. Okay, so now if we discuss the cloud computing definition, so you will get all the clarity. Now cloud computing is the on demand availability. On demand means what? Whenever we need it, we will get the resources. So that is known as on demand availability of computer system resources, especially storage, computing power, without direct active management by the user. You don't need to manage anything, everything will be managed by cloud provider. So you don't need to worry about anything. You just need to rent out the resources, use the resources, and pay whatever you are using. If you are using 100 GB, then pay for 100 GB. If you are using 1 terabyte, then pay for 1 terabyte. So you don't need to guess the capacity now. So that is the power of the cloud. So rather than owning their own computing infrastructure or data centers, companies can rent access to anything from the application to storage from cloud service provider. So you can actually rent out anything that you want from the cloud. So now you will understand the definition clearly. So let's discuss some of the advantage of the cloud computing. So using the cloud computing, you can reduce the IT costs. So you don't need to buy so many much expensive resources. You don't need to put manpower on taking care of those resources, and you don't need to worry about the any problem also, like earthquake or something happen, some disaster happen. Then you don't need to worry about it, because this is not in your on premise. So this is relying on the cloud, and they are actually storing 2 or 3 or more copies of your data, so your data is totally secure there. And then second one, pay as you go model. Now pay as you go model means what? You need to pay only for those services that you are using. I already explained you, if you are storing some only say 1 GB of data, then you need to pay only 1 GB of data. If you are storing 100 GB of data, then you need to pay for 100 GB of data. You don't need to guess capacity. Okay, then the next one is scalability. Like whenever, suppose you are hosting an application on your system, then if your system your application is getting famous and your traffic is increased, then what happen? You need to upgrade your system na. So here you don't need to worry about that also. If you use autoscalers, there is a concept of autoscaler we will be discussing. So that actually scale you scale your capacity automatically. You don't need to worry about anything. So that is the power of cloud. Like you have a service like S3 where you can store your data. You don't need to worry about the capacity. You don't need to guess the capacity. You, if you have 100 MB data, then you can put 100 MB data also. If you have 100 terabytes of data, that also you can put in S3. So that is the power of cloud. Then security. So cloud is actually providing so many security mechanisms. They are providing access control. You can control the access, like who can visit, who can get into your network or in your system, and who cannot. And you can provide the there are so many encryption mechanisms also. So in various way they are providing you security in the cloud also. So these all are the features because of which cloud computing is a very famous nowadays. And so many IT companies are moving to the cloud because their cost is actually got reduced using the cloud services. So I got you all understand, all you understand all the things in the today's session. So thank you very much for joining the session.